My answer is always simple. Move your body. Your body will pay you back in stress reduction, in endorphins. Listen to your body. Those days that you feel tired, then just go for a walk. But decide you're going to do it. Consistency is everything. Just deciding that you're worth it.
Welcome to This is Perimenopause, the podcast where we delve into the transformative journey of perimenopause and beyond. I'm one of your hosts, Mikkel.
And I'm your other host, Michelle. And we know firsthand how confusing, overwhelming, and downright lonely this phase of life can be.
Join us as we share real-life stories and expert advice to help you navigate this journey and advocate for your best health.
We used to think menopause signaled an end, but really, it's just the beginning. I'm so excited about today's podcast, and I know you're just going to love it. Today, we're interviewing Alison Cascagnette, a personal trainer who focuses on women in perimenopause and beyond. And what's so incredible about Alison is that she is so passionate about helping women understand what's happening to their bodies as we age and how to listen to our bodies to get the most out of our workouts. She's working hard to help midlife women change our mindset, make peace with our bodies, and be more kind and gentle to ourselves. I should mention that today's podcast is going to be a little bit different. Our producer, Amy, is joining me for the interview instead of Mikkel, because both Amy and I have struggled through Alison's super fun, yet a little intense workouts. And so we thought it would be fun to make Alison sweat for a change.
Wow.
Just joking, Alison. Welcome to the show. I promise it's going to be painless.
I have instilled a little pain on your bodies, it's true.
Especially on a Monday morning after the weekend.
Yeah, that 6 o'clock class, which I've seen both of you in. Yeah, sometimes there's not a lot of conversation, but there definitely is sweating.
It's a lot of fun, for sure. But yeah, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. I would say anyway. But it's good.
Good.
So Alison, we would love to hear how you came to be personal trainer and why you've made it your mission to help menopausal women find their power one dumbbell at a time.
One dumbbell at a time. Do you know, I've only been a personal trainer for 2 years and a sneeze. I came to personal training because I had a major life shift, and I needed extra money. It's that simple. And I think I always felt I'd be a good personal trainer because I love fitness, but moreover, I love people, and I also have a real keen sense of humor and am able to bring that out in people. So I became a trainer through COVID. I was in my new apartment and was in a very small, tight little area, much like this. It was one of those moments that I was super proud of myself for doing something. And I cheekily told Dave, the owner of Depth, that he should hire me because I felt that there was not enough representation of people with gray hair. Anyway, I would say what I am loving and passionate about is helping women build muscle and build power. And I find my power with lifting weights. And it's not only fantastic for you, which we're going to get all into, but I found that for myself, that I needed that to show myself what I can do. And so that's what brought me to Depth. I call Depth my fun job. I also work with people with developmental disabilities, which makes me highly intuitive. So I can read bodies and read people very easily, which is a huge blessing in this profession. And I ended up having a young group of women with developmental disabilities who were ready for a fitness trainer. And so that's how I walked into Depth. And I said, I think you should hire me so that I can train these young, amazing women. And that's how I started. And I've just added on and coupled up with Kathleen White to start teaching those menopause classes. And even the way we came to get talking about menopause and what we might like to do together was fun and crazy. We're both runners, and I came to her with a running injury. And because I only worked a little bit at Depth, she really didn't know that I was a trainer. She knew I was a trainer. She was just confused by it all. You know, Kathleen. I remember her looking at me and saying, so how long have you worked here? And I'd almost worked there almost a year. But I just would come in on a Saturday. Well, all of the full-timers aren't there on a Saturday. Anyway, through all of the careful wisdom and adjustments of Kathleen, she whispered in my ear that just maybe I was doing too much, you know, as maybe my body was trying to tell me something. It was a kismet type moment. And we got talking about wanting women to find peace with their bodies. And that is a huge mission. I would love to have more women talk about themselves in a positive way instead of, I hate this part of my body. I hate this. I hate that. And one of the things I challenged women in our menopause class was to say, what do you love about yourself? And I said, you can't say your uterus for giving you babies, because that's not what we're after. What do you love about yourself? And I remember what you said. Do you know I remember what you said? Can I share what you said?
You can share what I said. Sure, yeah.
You said your smile.
I did.
Yeah, and you know what? Aw. And Michelle has one of the most beautiful smiles. It's very true. But that's hard, and I do remember in that class that some people wouldn't answer.
Well, and like I broke out in a cold sweat when you were like, what do you love about yourself? And I was like, oh, geez.
Oh,
like,
God.
But you're also really good. There's many times where at first I just blurted out the negative voices came out of my mouth, and you're like, yeah. And by the end, I was correcting myself before.
Yeah.
And it's hard to always stay in that positive.
Oh, it is. It is. And I one of the other things that I'm learning from Kathleen, and it's just awareness, is language, because we hate my ass, and I hate this, and I hate, or I'm weak. So I never allow a woman in the menopause class, certainly in the adult fitness classes, I can't grab everybody, but if I hear it, you're going to hear from me, that there is no body shaming. I will call you out with body shaming for sure. And we just change terminology and language. No woman is weak. 0 women are weak. You might have weaker core. You might have a weaker core. It might need to be strengthened, but you are not weak. So even that little mindset is what gets me all fired up for sure. I get pretty fired up.
I do, but it's amazing.
I do.
In an amazing way.
So yeah, that's how I came to be. And I'm happy. I'm happy to be a part of Depth, and I'm really happy to be working with women.
I think that most of the Monday morning class is women now. And I don't know if that's just a function of who you are, but I feel
I think it is. When I see your name, I'm definitely signing up, because
that's nice.
It's relatable though, because you talked about your intuition, and you can relate to us because we're kind of all going through the same thing. And
absolutely.
I liked what you said about changing that mindset about this may be weaker. I might need to work on that. And our bodies change as we get older, and I'm wondering if that maybe is part of it. We're not realizing it sneaks up on us a little bit. Those changes.
Oh, sure it does. Absolutely.
So can you give us some examples of maybe menopausal women or perimenopausal women? What might be a change that might happen, and from a workout or fitness perspective? And what would you say is an example of how we might adjust it so we can keep doing what we love, rather than just saying, I'm stopping doing it because my body has now changed?
Well, you're never stopping doing it because your body's changed.
I agree. But do you
Don't
find
be doing
some
that.
people, that's what they go to though right away, is I can't?
I think so.
Right.
I think so. And I think you're right. I think menopause sneaks up on us, or perimenopause, and it's so incredibly vast. Gosh, I think it starts could start as early as 35, and it goes for much longer past the end of your period, right? Even, when women say, oh, it's been a year since I've had my period, and yay, you still could be in for
There's
stuff.
still lots going on.
There still could be some stuff, you lucky beast. But I would say that one of the things that continues to be fantastic for women at all is strength training. And I've already alluded to the fact that it makes you feel powerful. But the most important piece about strength training is women need to lift heavy things. And when I say heavy, I don't mean a 10-pound weight. I mean we need to lift heavy things. We need to be challenged because that pulling on our muscles and that pulling on our tendons and our bones is what actually does create bone cells, which we want so that we can protect us against osteoporosis. I would love for any listener to care enough about themselves to pay attention to all aspects of working out, energy level, periods, cycles, what they've eaten, what they haven't eaten, their water level. It seems daunting, right? I mean, we could write a book of everything we're supposed to pay attention, in addition to, children, jobs, right? Parents, partners, all of these things, right? So I would say that consistency is the best thing for any woman. Decide you're worth it and go for it. Having said that, the closer you get to menopause, I would say the rest is a little bit more important, and the warming up and the cooling down, which I can't believe I'm saying that because don't tell anybody, but I hate warm-ups. And I really hate stretching too.
Do you know what I love about Duff is that they don't have the stretching at the end.
Know.
Well,
I know.
they do. You just leave.
You just leave. You
I
just
have to
leave.
get out of there for school.
That's right.
I
That's
leave
right.
too. I'm not a big cool down warm up.
I know.
I like just to get in there and do it. I like to lift heavy things.
Lift heavy
You
things.
need to lift some
rest.
really good
Yeah.
heavy stuff.
Yeah,
The
you
rest-
do. You're a very heavy
Thank you.
lifter. It's
the
amazing.
rest thing is not my not
No,
my favorite
no,
part.
no. However, if you know, as you get to be older, and so for me, what I've added into my world too is yoga. I've just started yoga, and that is making a huge difference in settling my brain down. I'm a high energy type gal who goes. People always wonder, you know, how many coffees I've had. No, it's just who I am. I've had one to wake up, but I just have a ton of energy, and I find that the yoga, that balance for me of the really heavy lifting things to the mindful practice of listening to my body. I think that as we get older, we have been looking after so many other things for so long, we've neglected ourselves. And I think that there's a pure awakening in women when they decide that they're going to pay attention to themselves. And that gets me all fired up to see somebody, you know, make an effort for themselves, to invest in themselves, to see a woman lift a weight that she never thought she could. I've had women say, oh, I'll never squat, you know, or I'll never deadlift, and I'll never, you know, that, and then that's the language piece again. I will always say, no, well, not yet. No, not yet. We have to teach you first. But it's amazing when you can get yourself into a good routine of strength training and rest, which doesn't necessarily mean laying on the couch and doing nothing. It means going for a hike, going for a walk, or maybe doing some yoga or Pilates, or there's lots of things you can do.
We have a very different definition of rest.
Oh,
You could say movement.
movement.
A combination of strength and
movement. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, but yes, I would say, did I answer that question? I feel
sure did.
I'm all over the map.
I liked what you're saying is be consistent and get started, I gather, is the first step. And then everything else falls into place as you move along. So Michelle and I get together and made a list of questions. I'm not sure how I got assigned this because, as you know, I don't run. I don't run in warm-up. I don't run at the gym. But I'm asking this one anyway. Some of the reading we've done suggests that perhaps cardio, or focusing heavily on cardio as we get into perimenopause and as we age, is maybe not the most beneficial choice. Not that it's not part of our workout, but maybe it's not the main focus. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure, I can. Certainly, when I was younger and when I was going through some significant stress in my life, running was a huge outlet. And I still love to jump out and kick off however many K my body feels like going that day. But I do less of it now. I think my joints are happy about that. I think sometimes my headspace misses the endorphin rush. You think back to when we are just in our DNA is hunter-gatherers, and we were either being chased or to become a meal, or we were chasing to get a meal. If we do too much cardio as we get a little bit older, the body will get used to and think of that in terms of, well, I'm being chased, and they will actually store the weight in your midsection to wait for that long sort of famine that's going to happen, just in case there's no food coming. Does that make sense? So though I challenge when you say you don't run, yes, Amy, you can, because your ancestors did, just so you know. So yes, you can run. But I would say that any tool that you used, calories in, calories out. Remember that? Good times when we were young. I knew exactly how to lose weight if I, drank too much beer in university and smoked too many ciggies and just basically didn't take care of myself. I cleaned it up, ate well, spent a week or two, a couple extra runs here and there, and boom, I was right back at it. Well, those days are gone. Completely gone, and really tough for women to accept. really tough, especially perimenopausal and menopausal women who I grew up, and God love my mom and dad, and I grew up just feeling that my appearance did make a difference. And I think we all did. I think that you need to decide no more, and that you have to walk the walk. And me too, sometimes I'll take a look at myself in the mirror when I'm getting out of the shower. Ain't that a flattering moment? And, I'm very fit in some spots, but some spots are draggy, and that's just the way it is. That's maybe one of the reasons why I let my gray hair go, because it's a chance for me to just kind of go, this is who I am, and it's fun and it's easy, and I'm a no-muss type gal, and this is me. Again, I'm all over the map, and I hope I'm answering the question. I want you to know that, yes, you can still do cardio, and do I still need to do cardio, but for my mental health as well. But I would just say it's that balance. It's that balance. And one of the greatest ways to be consistent, and one of the ways that I work with women, is to have a look at your calendar and plan out your workouts, just like you're planning out appointments. Make them just as important, and don't switch them around if your kids need something. Don't do it. It's easy to. It's easy to. And I would say that that's called falling into the mama trap. It's okay. Like, we've been the mama trap for a really long time. And we've been responsible for we've been responsible for our kiddies, and we've wanted to make them first, and we love them desperately. I mean, I have 3 kids. They're 25, 20. No, they're not. Oh, good God. They're 26, 24, and 16. They showed me a love I never knew existed in the world, but they sucked the life out of me, right? And between the hockey and the jobs and the running this and running there, and it was very, very easy to have the best intentions of, these are my workouts, and then I would chuck those workouts because I needed to do something for my sons or my daughter. And I think that that's the mindset that you need to break free from, and just decide. And when, if you come to depth, and you guys do, but when you and I'm going to talk about the menopause class and my Ladies That Lift class, it's great because we kind of keep each other accountable, and we look at the whole person coming in. When I talk to my Ladies That Lift class specifically, I ask them 2 things when they first walk in, and that is, how was your sleep last night, and where's your stress at? And it's a quick check-in.
I have a question though. So what
Sure.
if it's not so you talk a lot about listening to your body and how was your sleep and how was your stress? Mm-hmm. For me, because we come to a 6 a.m. class, that's when I can fit it in and not be affected by my family or work. Many times I'm not getting up with my alarm because I didn't sleep.
Right.
So how do we help me? Because I really want to get there more frequently, and yet the alarm goes off, and it's hard some mornings because I've been up since 3.
Right. And because you're hormonal, and because you're perimenopausal and menopausal, and that's something that we're all dealing with. I would say that it's your own experience. For me, when I have days where I don't sleep, my body will definitely pay me back because of all the fitness I do. So if I don't get a great sleep the first night, I'm like, okay. If I don't get a great sleep the next time, I'm like, okay. But night 3, I know I'm going to sleep. I would say that you need to find somebody that's going to keep you accountable in a loving way. Like, not somebody that's going to make you feel crappy for not showing up, but somebody that's going to say, remind you of why, you're coming. I would say, though it's really difficult, you just have to decide you're worth it. And know that it's a little bit of a cycle. This exercise is going to help you sleep better moving forward. And it's a vicious cycle for sure.
Can I give you my cell phone for Monday morning?
Sure, I can.
Michelle,
get up.
You're worth it. I'm just going to record that at the end of this. And then I'll leave my alarm when it goes off.
That's right. Michelle, you're worth it.
Get up. You're worth it.
You're worth it. Yeah. It is difficult. And certainly that's something we talk about in the menopause class too, is about sleeping. And there's a certain amount of anxiety that shows up with when you're not sleeping, because at first you're all chill. Yeah, I'm just going to go back to sleep. And, and then the brain starts, and maybe you're thinking about something. And then the anxiety shows up. Well, now you're starting to do the math of how much sleep. And well, there's no way I'm going to the gym now. Forget it. Right. And right.
Exactly this morning.
Oh, 100%.
Exactly.
I believe too that you can get along with less sleep than you think. I also believe that the earlier you go to bed, you get your best sleep before midnight, right? So, I mean, if you're like me and you're teaching the class, you got to be there. So I'm in bed at 9. Maybe on a big night, 9:15.
Oh, yeah. We're in bed at 8:30 in our
Well, then
house.
we've talked about that, right?
Yeah, we're in bed early.
Right? So, so sometimes if you're farting around at 2 a.m. and you're going to be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we are recording that message, so we leave here tonight.
Alison, you've mentioned a couple times the menopause class at Depth. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it is and how it might help women in perimenopause and menopause?
Sure, I can. So the class at I think we call Yours in Menopause, which I'm still not crazy about the name. I'm not sure.
Did Boyd design that? Yeah.
No, I think we called it the menopause class, and then we called Yours in Menopause. Because you know what? I used to respond to my emails through Kathleen.
Oh. Yours.
We would talk about it, and I'd say, "Always yours in menopause, Alison."
That's so cute.
That's, I think, how it started. But I don't think we're thrilled with the name yet. But I think we're kind of hoping. Do you have a name idea?
Maybe. You said you're worth it. Maybe that should be it.
You're worth it. Yeah, you're worth it.
Because you're worth it, menopause.
Because you're worth it. Because you're worth it. Anyway, the menopause class is very, very different from any other fitness class. It's more of a teaching class. The first half of the class, we spend some time, first of all, stretching a little bit, active stretching, always moving. And we do a little bit of chatting about different things we might be dealing with menopause, whether it's the lack of sleep, whether it's nutrition, whether it's balancing hormones, whether it's, what is this rage? Why am I screaming at people? Yes, the tiredness, the achy joint. Like we give each other a chance to kind of talk about what's challenging, and then we do a little bit more of the education piece. One of the things that we haven't talked about yet, but a huge symptom is leaking with perimenopause and menopause. What we do in the class is we learn how to cue the pelvic floor, and we learn to breathe. And it's a full more awareness, and I think it teaches us to slow down and listen to our bodies. And I love when women say, "Oh my gosh, my hips are tighter than I thought. I had no idea." And wow, does my knee ever hurt? I didn't even notice this. It's because we're all going around on crazy. Go, 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 go. So half the class is more of an educational piece, and then we get into movement. And what we do is we're strengthening all of the muscles around the pelvic floor. So we're working on core, we're working on glutes, we're working on hamstrings, we're working on quads. What I love about that class is the connections between the women. It's like women need women. Do you remember when we had our babies and we walked around wondering if other babies pooped as much as your baby? And remember that? And just wondering about food and wondering who is sleeping and why are you sleeping and my baby's not? And you needed women. You craved women. I really think that women need each other like that now in this phase of our life. I really, really do. So our menopause classes the next set of classes will run again in January. You need to have a consult with the amazing Kathleen White, and who is a huge advocate for women and the pelvic floor. And she's just an all-around great human. You need a consult, which can even look like a phone conversation. I mean, some people think, "Oh my God, an internal?" No. Not necessarily. I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh my God."
We learned all about that.
No. And then the classes start. We have 8-week classes. So the graduates, even though you don't have to graduate from the menopause class, you to come to the Ladies That Lift. But we've kind of built some relationships, and then people, the Ladies That Lift is the name that I think we're happy with. I don't know.
It's a good name.
It's better. The Ladies
name.
That Lift, yeah, because we really, God love them, we really don't want men. And it's all inclusive, but just for that class.
Yeah.
We don't want men in the menopause class too, obviously. Anyway, it's more fitness-based. It's a little bit more fast-paced. It's a little bit, you will be doing a little bit more sweating. There is parts of the class where I do tailor it to, don't forget your pelvic floor. Here's a perfect one to cue yourself and remember what we've worked on, and don't forget your breath. But it's also, we're starting to lift the heavy weights, and I'm starting to see that pop in a woman's eye when they are killing it, and at the gym. It's just, it's amazing. It's my aphrodisiac, really is. I love it. Yeah.
I think what I loved about it was that there were days where I felt like I needed to lift or throw something or something.
Yep.
And I could do that in that
Yes.
class. And then there were days where maybe I just needed to chill a little bit because life had been too much and I just needed a calming.
Yeah.
And so even though there's a class and we're following a program, it's still, you can kind of listen to where we're at.
Absolutely.
We could listen to ourselves and we got to. Yeah. It was
Yeah. In that class, we take people where they're at, and we're all holding a lot in us. We really are. I do recall one participant coming to the class in tears. I'm a huge hugger, and I never found out what was wrong. It's none of my business. But I think she was totally loved for whatever was going on with her, because we all get it. It's tough stuff to be a woman sometimes, tough stuff to be a menopausal woman, tough stuff to keep it all together and to keep it balanced and to keep life balanced. It's tough stuff, but we can do hard things. We can.
We talked earlier about how perimenopause sneaks up on women. So how do we know that this class will benefit us? And how do we know that it's time to come to the class?
Time to come. It will benefit you because of the people that are coming. And there's other women that will say, oh, well, I'm not even close to menopause, but I'm going to come to learn.
The education that you and Kathleen provide as well is really, it's interesting
great.
And it's really poignant. Like it's great. It's great education.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And I would talk more of it, but I want people to come to the menopause class to find out all about it. Absolutely. But yes, I would say that it's really important to know what's coming. I will be 53 next month. Woo-woo. And I am still like, I don't think I'm anywhere close to being done with menopause, right? And I keep asking my sister, how are you doing? What's going on with you? Because I guess I keep thinking that I will replicate her, but I might not. And I guess my greatest lessons have always been from the women that are there. I remember one woman talking about how she prepared the people around her when she was going to have a hot flash. Because she didn't want anyone to go, oh my God.
What's going on?
Like, what the hell's wrong with you? So she just said, so it's coming. Right? It's coming, and I'm going to get really red and hot, and whether it was her sons or whether it was her husband or people at work. And she said, this is coming, so just be prepared, and I'm fine. Yeah. And she just said that almost gave her the power back to say, yeah, I'm having a hot flash, and away we go. Yeah. That's so amazing. I love that. And that was her story. I just feel there's so many stories, and you just collect them and retell them.
That's awesome. So we've talked a little bit about listening to our bodies, and I don't know if this is in the same vein that you mean it, but there is a school of thought out there about women syncing their workouts and their life, meetings, whatever, but syncing their workouts to their menstrual cycles. What do you think about cycle syncing?
I would say that it's hard for me I've never done that as an athlete because I didn't know about it, and now my cycles are so few and far between. Like, I'm certainly dealing with that. And so I don't have experience doing it. So the wonderful thing about Depth is that there's a lot of good women that work there. And I just saddled up to the amazing Bronwyn and asked a few questions so that I could share what she suggested. And I loved her answer. She suggested that you just go ahead and do your workout, no matter where you are in your cycle, but you just love yourself for whatever you bring. Right. It was that simple. I mean, there's lots to say. Certainly leading up to ovulation is when you're going to have your most energy. Certainly if you're dealing with PMS, right before your period, then you're not feeling all that. If you're feeling a little bit, maybe you want to do something a little gentler. I mean, none of that is rocket science. But Bronwyn is quite an athlete, and I loved her answer. I think she gave me a lot of information, but I thought, you know what, for my purposes, that kind of makes the most sense, right? Like you have to be okay that some days you can't lift it. It was just last week. And I thought about this. I talked to one of the ladies today at the class this morning and told her I was going to use this example. And she was on the trap bar, and she is a very strong woman. Usually I'm running to that trap bar to kind of throw the weights off or throw the weights on, right, to keep everybody moving. And I went and I saw what she was lifting, and I was like, well, she's going to need more of that. So I said, what do you want me to grab for you? And she looked at me and she said, I can't lift this at all today. Yeah.
Interesting.
And And I said, you can't. And she said, no. And then she said, I feel so defeated. And I said, you look at that trap bar and you tell it to piss off. And I said, you get off that trap bar and go do something else that you love to do in this gym. Just go. Just tell it to piss off. And I reminded her of that today as she's back to lifting. And do we know why? God, no. Could it have been what she ate? Yeah. Her water? Yeah. Sure. Who knows? It could have been where she was in her cycle. I have no idea. But it's just one of those feelings that you just say piss off and you just move on and you come back and you don't let it defeat you. Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Talk to us a little bit about stress and how we might be able to use our workouts to manage our stress.
My answer is always simple. Move your body. Your body will pay you back in stress reduction, in endorphins. Move your body, listen to your body. Those days that you feel tired, then just go for a walk. But decide you're going to do it. Consistency is everything. Just deciding that you're worth it. And forgiving yourself when you go to Vegas. Right? And you come back and, you just forgiving yourself. I mean, it's really hard to stay on a good path sometimes. So when you veer off, or if you found yourself giving too much energy to, something else instead of workouts, well, forgive yourself. Just forgive yourself. Stop being so hard on yourselves. We've spent a long time being hard on ourselves. It's no more. So stress, certainly, movement of any kind is going to help with your stress level for sure. Lifting heavy things will make you feel extremely powerful in between your ears, which again will reduce stress for sure.
I love that a lot, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Alison, what is the one thing that you want every woman in their midlife to know about their bodies and their workouts?
I think that I loved this question so much that I actually wrote, and it's
oh, good.
Yeah, so I'm just going to, if you are videoing it, I'm just going to read from my paper because I love that. Well, first of all, honor yourself as you get into your older years. You're so much more wiser than you were in your 30s and 20s. You've had so much more life experience. But my advice would be invest in yourself. Make your health a priority. Take control of your mental health and your physical health like your life depends on it, because it does. And surround yourself with real women and let go of everything that does not serve you. Everything. None of this is easy, but believe you can do hard things because you can.
Thanks so much for listening to the show. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and subscribe to our podcast. When you do this, it helps to raise our podcast profile so more women can find us and get a little better understanding of what to expect in perimenopause.
We also read all the reviews, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to help us continuously improve our show. We would love to hear from you. You can connect with us through the podcast, on social media, or through our website. Our information, as well as links and details from our conversation today, can be found in the show notes. This podcast is for general information only. It's designed to educate, inspire, and support you on your personal journey through perimenopause. The information and opinions on this podcast are not intended to be a substitution for primary care, diagnosis, or treatment. The information on this podcast does not replace professional healthcare advice. The use of the information discussed is at the sole discretion of the listener. If you are suffering from symptoms or have questions, please consult a qualified healthcare practitioner.